The film begins by explaining an organization called Templar that is searching for an object named the Apple of Eden, an ancient relic with the ability to control human minds. However, the Templars' efforts to find the Apple of Eden are not without obstacles, as they are constantly opposed by an organization called Assassin's Creed, which strives to protect the Apple of Eden from falling into the hands of the Templars. The scene then shifts to the city of Andalusia, Spain, in the year 1492, where a fortress-like location is revealed to be the hideout of the assassins. Inside, the assassins are forging weapons until finally, an assassin named Aguilar appears, walking down the stairs to join the others in a lobby. At that moment, Aguilar recites the Assassin's Creed oath before his ring finger is cut off, and he is given a hidden blade. This is a requirement of the assassins, as they must cut off their ring finger first if they wish to use the hidden blade. Afterward, Aguilar recites the Assassin's Creed oath. The scene then shifts to the year 1986 in Mexico, where a young boy is seen performing stunts on his bicycle from the top of a building, but unfortunately he fails and falls. Upon returning home, the boy senses an eerie silence, and as he ventures deeper into the house, he is shocked to find his mother lying lifeless in front of him. As he looks around in fear, he spots a man wearing a hood standing behind a wall. When the boy approaches for a closer look, he is startled to discover that the man is his father, who, unexpectedly, is the one who killed his mother. From his father's movements, the boy realizes that his father is a hitman, an assassin, who immediately orders him to leave. However, before he can react, a group of Templar soldiers suddenly arrives. 30 years later, in the city of Texas, a man named Callum is seen inside a prison cell. Moments later, a man enters the cell and looks at the drawings created by Callum. Shortly after, Callum is taken to a room where he learns that he has been sentenced to death for murder. As a result, Callum is lethally injected, but shortly after that, he wakes up in an incredibly modern room and meets a woman named Dr. Sophia Ritkin. Callum, shocked, tries to escape, but becomes confused as he feels that something is wrong with him. He eventually reaches the edge of the building and sees the entire city of Madrid, which has drastically changed. At that moment, Dr. Sophia explains that Callum is inside a research facility called Abstergo, located in Madrid, Spain. Wanting to escape, Callum attempts to jump, but Sophia quickly stops him and explains the vision and mission of Abstergo, which seeks to eliminate anarchistic tendencies in humanity. To prevent Callum from escaping, he is then sedated and taken to a device called Animus, which can display the memories of a person's ancestors through their DNA. But before that, Callum is given a hidden blade, and the process of entering the Animus begins. In short, Animus starts working and finds the DNA of Aguilar within Callum. As a result, Callum suddenly loses consciousness and enters the memories of his ancestor Aguilar, who lived 500 years ago. Those memories take him to a village in Spain where the Templar forces, led by Tomás de Ojeda, find a young boy who turns out to be a prince hidden by the villagers. As a result, Ojeda begins questioning the villagers about who is hiding the boy. Eventually, one of the villagers confesses, prompting Ojeda to order his men to burn the village. Additionally, it is revealed that the Templars came to the village to threaten the Sultan, the boy's father, into handing over the Apple of Eden to the Templars. At the same time, the assassins are seen sneaking up behind the Templar forces until Aguilar leaps and kills one of the Templar soldiers. This sparks a battle between the Templars and the assassins, and Callum, still inside the Animus, follows every move of Aguilar. Soon after, Aguilar's friend, Maria, is seen successfully driving a horse-drawn carriage with the prince inside, while the Templars give chase. Aguilar, seeing this, also begins to chase after them, leading to an intense pursuit and a fight on top of the carriage. Luckily, Maria, with her skill, manages to defeat the Templars chasing her. As a result, Aguilar, who had been pursuing them, is now on top of the carriage, where Ojeda is riding, and a fight ensues between them. In the midst of the tension, Ojeda's carriage suddenly breaks down, causing Aguilar to be thrown into the carriage where Maria is guarding the prince. At the same time, they face a cliff that threatens their safety. However, with his skills and intelligence, Aguilar manages to save the young boy, though with great difficulty. A few moments later, Ojeda and his troops are seen standing over Aguilar and Callum, who are lying on the ground, until Callum seems to see a vision of Aguilar. That night, Sophia enters a room filled with the Templars' collection of artifacts and meets her father, Dr. Alan Ritkin, to discuss Callum. Therefore, her father praises Sophia for her achievements. Elsewhere, Dr. Alan meets with a woman who turns out to be an investor in Abstergo and the head of the Elder Templars. In that meeting, Dr. Alan assures her that they are very close to finding the Apple of Eden. It turns out that both Sophia and her father are members of the Templar group. Returning to Callum, he is seen waking from his sleep and seeing a vision of Aguilar. At the same time, Sophia, who is reading ancient books, observes him through CCTV. After noticing that Callum has regained consciousness, Sophia enters and explains that the vision is called the bleeding effect, a result of someone using the Animus. Still confused, Callum suddenly grabs Sophia by the throat, prompting her to explain what is happening to him. Eventually, Callum understands and releases his grip. Once Callum has calmed down, Sophia takes him to her room, making him realize that she has been aware of him and spying on him for some time. They then engage in a conversation about Callum's ancestors, the Assassins, and the Templars. Shortly afterward, Callum notices a document displayed on the wall and asks Sophia about it. She then explains that the document contains information about the Assassins. She also reveals that Callum's mother was killed by an assassin. Not far from there, Callum finds a replica of the Apple of Eden, which Sophia explains as an ancient relic with supernatural powers that can control human minds. After leaving the room, Callum and Sophia walk towards the cafeteria, where he is approached by someone who invites him to sit. Callum ends up eating with a man named Musa, who, like him, who is also a descendant of assassins. While eating, Callum suddenly experiences another flashback, again seeing a vision of Aguilar. On the other hand, Sophia is seen meeting with Dr. Alan in a room where he explains that Callum must go back into the Animus. At the same time, Callum is in his room, once again facing the vision of Aguilar. They then begin to fight until guards suddenly arrive and start beating Callum. Shortly after, the Abstergo guards manage to take Callum back into the Animus, causing him to go wild, prompting Sophia to try to calm him down. In short, after being placed back into the Animus, Callum is once again transported to Aguilar's time. At that time, Aguilar and Maria are in prison after being captured by the Templar forces earlier. Both have sworn not to reveal the secrets of the Assassins to the Templars. As a result, the guards take them to a courtyard for execution. Before the execution begins, they are given a prayer by a priest, and the crowd applauds. At the same time, gasoline is poured over them, while Ojeda arrives with a torch. Refusing to give up, Aguilar struggles to free himself from his shackles. By the time he frees himself, the flames have already spread, yet Aguilar and Maria manage to survive, leading to a fierce battle with the soldiers, while Callum follows Aguilar's every move. A fierce fight ensues, and they manage to climb onto a rooftop, escaping using the assassin's skills. Moments later, Ojeda nearly catches up to him, but Aguilar manages to fend him off and successfully escapes. Upon reaching a rooftop, Aguilar performs a leap of faith, a signature move of the Assassin's Creed. At the same time, Callum, experiencing the same, begins to convulse, prompting the medical team to rush to his aid. Shortly after, Callum is placed in a pool until he regains consciousness. When he is pulled out of the pool, Sophia hands him a necklace she was holding, which turns out to be the same one found at the scene of his mother's murder. After this, Sophia plans to explain the war between the Assassins and the Templars, but Callum, upon hearing this, decides to leave immediately. In his room, Callum continues to stare at his mother's necklace and begins practicing martial arts. In the CCTV room, Dr. Alan watches him until he eventually enters Callum's room and speaks with him. During their conversation, Callum asks Dr. Alan to set him free, but he refuses and instead takes him to a place filled with people who failed to enter the Animus. In this place, Dr. Alan brings up the topic of Callum's mother's death and reveals that his father is among those in the room. Before leaving, Dr. Alan leaves a hidden blade behind. Callum then picks up the blade and meets his father. Unexpectedly, He points the blade at his father, leading him to reveal that Callum's mother had asked to be killed so that she would not be captured by Abstergo and have her past examined. Fortunately, Callum understands this and decides not to kill his father, instead giving him his mother's necklace. Callum then enters a room, but the other prisoners suddenly attack the guards and beat Callum, accusing him of destroying the grate. Enraged, Callum walks toward the Animus and immediately enters it. Once again, Callum is transported to Aguilar's time, where he is atop a palace. Inside the palace, the Sultan is negotiating the exchange of the Apple of Eden for his son. At that moment, the Sultan takes the Apple of Eden and hands it over to a Templar representative. Meanwhile, Sophia and her father, watching the artifact, are amazed by its power. In the middle of the negotiation, Aguilar suddenly threw a smoke bomb from above and entered the palace before fighting with the Templars. At that moment, Aguilar managed to capture a member of the Templar and obtain the Apple of Eden, but Maria was also captured by Ojeda. As Aguilar refused to give up the Apple of Eden, Odija immediately killed Maria, resulting in Aguilar fighting with Ojeda. Unexpectedly, Ojeda was able to defeat Aguilar, who then collapsed on the ground. As Ojeda prepared to stab him, Aguilar quickly used Maria's hidden blade and stabbed it into Ojeda's body. As a result of the attack, Ojeda weakened, and Aguilar was finally able to kill him. After that, Aguilar tried to chase the remaining Templar, but unfortunately, the soldiers had already gathered, forcing Aguilar to escape through the underground passage. When Aguilar made it outside, the Templar soldiers were still able to block his path. As a last resort, Aguilar, having no other choice, decided to leap into the canyon. At the same time, the Animus suddenly malfunctioned while replaying Aguilar's memory, causing Callum to also jump, leaving everyone in the room confused. Shortly afterward, the Animus showed Aguilar arriving at a harbor and boarding a ship. At that moment, Aguilar handed the Apple of Eden to a captain, who turned out to be Christopher Columbus, tasked with bringing the Apple of Eden to his grave. Additionally, Aguilar appeared to be near death, causing Callum to suddenly see the shadow of Aguilar. On the other hand, the assassins imprisoned in Abstergo began a rebellion. As a result, Callum in the Animus room seemed to be visited by previous assassins, while the present-day assassins broke into Abstergo and entered the control room. Seeing this, Dr. Allen ordered the destruction of the facility because it had been taken over by the assassins. In the Animus room, Sophia was suddenly taken away by her right-hand man, and the assassins began fighting the guards. At the same time, Callum was suddenly visited by the spirit of his late mother, who recited the assassin's oath to him. In short, the assassins managed to enter the Animus room and saw Callum speaking with his mother. Unexpectedly, from that moment, Callum officially became an assassin, leading the assassins under his leadership to fight the Abstergo forces, although one of his friends was killed. A moment later, hearing the sound of a helicopter, Callum climbed the Animus, intending to catch up with Dr. Allen, who was in the helicopter. But it was too late, as the helicopter had already flown away. The next day, Dr. Allen was at the Cathedral of Seville, specifically at the tomb of Christopher Columbus, to retrieve the Apple of Eden after learning about it from Callum's memories. As a result, Dr. Allen finally managed to obtain the Apple of Eden. A few days later, Dr. Allen and Sophia attended a Templar meeting. However, unbeknownst to him, the assassins had already infiltrated the meeting. During this time, Dr. Allen gave a speech, while Sophia was outside and met Callum. At that moment, Sophia explained that she felt betrayed because her father didn't want to save the world, but instead wanted to rule, using the power of the Apple of Eden to eradicate the Assassin's Creed. Inside the room, Dr. Allen raised the Apple of Eden, but suddenly, Callum appeared behind him and launched a fatal attack that killed him. As a result of this attack, the Apple of Eden returned to the hands of the assassins. Unfortunately, Sophia, upon learning of her father's death, now harbored a grudge against the assassins and decided to become a member of the Templars. The film Assassin's Creed ends. Moral lesson from the story: when chasing after ancient apples, make sure they're not the kind that controls your mind. Otherwise, you might end up in a sword fight on a horse-drawn carriage. And remember, if you're going to leap off rooftops like an assassin, Make sure your DNA is ready for it, or you'll just end up face planting in the Animus.